Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa. Good morning to you, the rest of the world. It's a brand new week, and it's the 5th day of July 2021. And I'm sure you're geared up for this week. I'm sure you're prepared for this day. You're welcome to the conversation where we'll bring you informative, educative, and entertaining stories from across Africa. My name is Merciful Ajinomo.
And I am Sagir Ibrahim. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Good morning, Sagir.
Good morning, Merciful.
How are you?
Very well.
Happy New Week, I must say.
As a matter of fact, Happy New Week.
How was your weekend?
It was great. How was yours?
Just, I would say short.
Okay.
I don't know, the weekend is always short for me because I have a lot of things to do.
Yes. Well, we just have to enjoy it however way we can.
Definitely. And it's already the 5th day of July and it's like the month is running really fast. It's just yesterday we came to say Happy New Month and I'm like,
we're in the
here
second
again.
week already. As a matter of fact, yes.
Hope you're prepared for this week though.
Of course.
Definitely. All right. Before we bring you the development across Africa, we'll bring you the quote of the day.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust to provide effective relief and is gentle on the stomach. Try Panadol Caplets for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Caplets. This has been Medifact for Panadol.
Now let us dive right into some stories. We begin with the African Development Bank stating that the risk of debt default is increasing among African countries. The Strategy for Economic Governance in Africa launched on Friday. AFDB stated that Africa's declining economic output as a result of containment measures against COVID-19 and policy measures to stimulate the economies have heightened debt vulnerabilities. Yes, all of this was expected. Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
COVID-19 and everything.
Yes,
the hit. And Africa, I think, was one of the continents that had the largest hit of all of this.
Well, largest hit in terms of
economic
impact.
Yeah.
But in terms of those who were infected
the most, of course.
Africa is having.
Yeah, we have even countries like India.
Yes.
I think they are topping the scale and everything.
So of course it was expected. I mean, the impact of the COVID-19 ravaged economies of Africa across board. So, but Africa was lucky, you know, because as a matter of fact, in terms of the number of infections, we didn't suffer that much and we were not hit as much
compared to other countries like Brazil, India.
Exactly, you know, compared to those countries, even the UK itself, and the United States of America, as a matter of fact, they are still recording cases in their thousands. I mean, the country with the highest number of infections here in Africa is South Africa, and it averages about just 10 to 12,000 cases per day, where we have countries averaging 40, 50, 60 to 100,000 cases per day. You know, exactly. And the fatalities are also very, very high. In their thousands, as a matter of fact, you know, 20,000 and the likes of that. But here in Africa, we see a very low infection rate. However, the economy was impacted severely. So while we had this way, you know, the West is having it the other way. So they are suffering the impact in terms of infection, and we are suffering the impact in terms of economic implication.
And I also say the lockdown comes in place, especially seeing that we're having an issue of vaccination spread, vaccination use, and we still have a very low percentage in countries, even like Nigeria.
Yes.
Whereas these other countries, they have a very high turnout of vaccination. People turning out to their numbers, but still we keep saying. So I think Africa is blessed. But the issue is our economic impact.
Yes.
How it has hit the economy is something that I really think we should. I really hope that will come out of it very soon.
Well, hopefully, I believe, you know, as a matter of fact, this should have taught Africans, you know, a huge lesson as to how to, you know, cope up, and next time, hopefully there will be no next time, but then Africa will be better prepared, you know, to ensure that COVID-19 infections in the country is covered. You know? So we move over to Southern Africa, where South Africa's ex-president Jacob Zuma has asked the nation's top court to reconsider and rescind its 15-month jail sentence decision for failing to appear before a draft of inquiry. In papers filed on Friday, two days before the expiry of a deadline for him to surrender to police in preparation for imprisonment, Zuma pleaded that the order be reconsidered and rescinded. The Constitutional Court, in an unprecedented ruling on Tuesday handed Zuma a 15-month jail term for contempt for defying its order to appear at an inquiry into corruption while he was president. I think when this began, there were a couple of issues that came up as regards to his government and a couple of misappropriation and as well corruption. So these corruption allegations were leveled against the former president. However, on several occasions when he was, asked to come to court to either testify or give his own statement,
he was not appearing.
He was unavailable. Perhaps he blatantly refused to do so, or for reasons best to him, he refused to appear before the court. However, due to this, he was held in contempt and he was sentenced to 15 months in jail. And now here he is, seeking for an appeal for that sentence.
But do you think it's possible that they will reconsider it?
Well, it's possible. I'm not a lawyer, first of all, so this is just my layman opinion. But I believe it should be possible if you can establish ground as to why he was absent in the first place.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. But however, but if it's not good enough, then again, I mean, 15
months is 15 months.
Exactly.
All right, let's go over to talking about Nigeria here. A trained medical doctor, Justin Chukwudi Oluweze, has become the first Nigerian to graduate from the Siberian State Medical University, Tomsk, Russia. Speaking in an interview with the Newsman, Oluweze said, "Not many Nigerians and Africans come to that part of Russia, preferring the western part of the country." I keep getting excited when I see Nigerians, Africans going outside their countries and bagging awards, being first in everything. I'm like, yes, we have a bunch of talent in Africa.
As a matter of fact, we do so. But the unfortunate thing is, like the African saying goes, the herbalist is not appreciated at home.
Yes.
So
yes.
You see Nigerians go outside and they are making giant strides outside Nigeria. But when they come back into Nigeria, they're not even appreciated for the little efforts they are making. These are the problems that we face. These are the problems.
It all boils down to structuralization.
Exactly. It all boils
down, there's a working environment for you to show, because talent is talent, but it's when you start to do it, it's to do that you show it. Yes, it's when you're doing something. If you're a medical doctor, if you're working in a hospital that is working and you're being paid your salaries, your allowances, you're happily doing the work.
Okay,
yes.
So structure, infrastructure,
and welfare too.
Yes, is also very important.
Definitely.
But however, I think there's something we need to add, and that is expectation. We all have various expectations, different and diverse expectations, both within and outside Nigeria. So the expectation for those outside Nigeria is that, look, I believe in you, you are coming to come and perform. Yes. But Nigerians always have the mentality that what is in Nigeria or from Nigeria might be substandard and something outside is preferable.
That's why they prefer to go out and get whatever they're getting, whether it's health or anything.
Until we start having the mentality and the belief that what is in Nigeria is good for Nigerians, I mean, we will never see a change. Because as a matter of fact, we have seen time and time again where Nigerians travel abroad for medical treatment only to be treated by a Nigerian abroad. So I hope it changes anyway.
All right, we'll move over to Kenya, where the Kenyan government has denied being involved in the arrest and extradition of self-acclaimed leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, saying it does not want to be dragged into Nigeria's internal affairs. They have also challenged anyone with facts of its involvement in the alleged arrest and extradition of Kanu to come forward. Ambassador Dr. Wilfred Machage, who is Kenya's High Commissioner to Nigeria, on Friday said the claim of their involvement was fictional and imaginary.
Yes, so they made the allegations and, Kenya has come out to blatantly deny. So, but the thing is, whether they facilitated the arrest or not.
He has been arrested.
That is one, and of course they are not going to admit it. It's supposed to be an intelligence operation, perhaps even a sting operation. So you not expect them
to come and say, "Oh, this is what we did, and yes, we're part of it."
So this is expected. So whether they were innocent or not, it doesn't matter at this point. So if they are being accused, let it go. Nnamdi Kanu has been arrested already. Let the government, let him face the law according to the ambit of what the law states.
And we do hope that justice will prevail at the end of the day.
As a matter of fact, yes.
All right, that's the most you can take on the Development Across Africa segment of the conversation. We bring you the COVID-19 update from across Africa. After that, we have the newspaper segment of the show. Just stay.
north to South Africa, east to West Africa, TOS TV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.tostvnetwork.com and follow us on social media at TOS TV Network on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Watch us on television, channel 138 on TSTV Africa.
It is still the conversation on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, and like I always say, you could be part of the conversation by connecting with us on our various social media channels currently showing on your screen. It is the newspaper segment of the conversation this morning, and we'll begin with the Guardian newspaper of this morning. And from the very top, and as well as the banner headline, we see debt service burden. Subsidy may push deficits above 7 trillion naira this year. Underneath, we see two riders there. Deficit already 3 trillion naira at end of May. Debt service ratio hits 97%. And underneath the picture of the day there, we see third wave scare. Lagos inspects synagogue ahead of Joshua's burial. And beside that, there are a couple of other headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning. You could grab a copy to keep updated.
We move over to the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. The very gaping headline there says Black Sunday. 4 riders honoring that story. The first, many feared, killed as gas tanker crashes into market in Ibadan, Oyo State capital. The second, 10 confirmed dead, many injured, hospitalized. Driver lost control, attempted to veer off-road, rammed into shops. That's coming from an eyewitness. And then the last dead include traders, customers, passers-by, several vehicles damaged. All of that can be found on page 8. And just underneath the picture of the day there, we see DSS operatives arrest hashtag Buhari must go, hashtag protesters in Abuja church. And that's coming on page 8 of the Nigerian Pilot. A couple of other headlines there. Just pick yourself a copy and read on them.
So for the last newspaper of this morning, we go to the Nigerian News Direct, and from the very top, the top left corner, as a matter of fact, FIRS extends filling time for 2021 income tax returns. And beside that, we see Cocoa. Nisal PLC boosts 1.15 billion naira export facility in Lagos, woos DMBs. And beside that, we also see medical doctor ex-soldier nabbed for dealing in drugged cookies as well as cocaine. And for the gaping headline this morning on the Nigerian News Direct newspaper, we see credits to private sector adds 296.8 billion naira, and that's according to the CBN. And underneath, we see a couple of riders there. Increase caused by inflation, naira depreciation, former CIBN president, and also no noticeable impact on real sector, and that's from Prof. Uwaleke. Aside that, we see increase resulting from crippled economy caused by insecurity, and that's by an analyst. And finally, net domestic credit hits 44.7 trillion naira. And this and much more could be found on page 1 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper this morning. There are a couple of other headlines there, but you could simply grab a copy of the newspaper to keep updated. And that would be it for the newspaper segment of the conversation this morning. We'll go on a quick break, and coming up next is the big story.
You won't go shake your body. Instead, they make it calm down. It the farm say you sabi. You want to grow 6 packs in a day. I beg you no do pass your power. You want to show yourself, oh.
Whatever your size, find it with the new Airtel data plans. Dial *141# now.
Always remember,
Tim and I have been creative design. We really like it, but
you deserve a break. You can indulge in a cup of 3-in-1 Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Indulge.
Now available in the 450 grams pouch.
Welcome back, and big thank you for staying tuned to the conversation showing on your digital first Pan-African news network. Don't forget you can be a part of our social media community by following us across all our social media platforms. That is at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course you can live stream our program on www.tostvnetwork.com. And if you've not subscribed to our YouTube page, please do so you do not miss out on our amazing content. It is the big story, the crux of the conversation. And this morning we focus on Yoruba Nation agitation, government's approach towards Sunday Igboho. And joining us on the show this morning via the telephone is Adeni Ikunu, social affairs commentator. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for joining us once again. How I've not told you Happy New Month before. Can I say Happy New Month just now?
No. What can we say? Let's just go ahead with it. I'm fine.
All right. So, first of all, what do you make of the increasing agitation for the actualization of Yoruba Nation by these protesters?
Well, it's long overdue because the leadership of a country should have the thermometer to measure the state of health of the citizenry, without which things will continue to happen. Let me tell you very clearly that in our daily lives and our daily interactions, there are people we relate with that we repeatedly must gauge their quotient in terms of their reactions and perspectives about certain things that we think is right. The wives that we have and the children we have are oftentimes those that, respond to certain things we do. And the best thing we usually do in terms of our response is to listen or engage so that those issues don't linger. The aspect of agitation did not just happen of its own accord. Certain things prompt agitation. But a situation where it's becoming the norm, that for every agitation you unleash the mayhem of security forces, and it means, as a leader, you don't quite understand what it means to be the servant. President Muhammadu Buhari is the servant of the average Nigerian in this country. And he doesn't quite understand that he's a servant. He's my servant because I pay his salaries by virtue of my taxes. He's your servant in that studio because for every flight he takes to London to check his health, is a result of the tax he pays. So it's a situation where the people that are servants suddenly think that they are the ones leading or ruling. The nomenclature, leaders or rulers, they have not taken away from the practicality of the office occupied. So the agitations are deserving of a government that appears to have itchy ears, of a leader that perhaps doesn't want to see things differently. And you know where it gets dangerous? For us, as the Yoruba race, we don't get angry very easily. Chief Obafemi Awolowo has also written it in books, made statements with it. But immediately we get involved in any agitation, then it becomes something that can't be handled. Do not forget, the war won, as it were, in 1967 to 1970 by the federal troops would not have been possible without Nigeria South, particularly the Yoruba people. So a situation where the Yoruba people are agitating in this manner don't forget that all along we've not said a word about the Igbo agitation, that the Yoruba people are not agitating that issues be addressed. Then Buhari and the federal government must be very, very conscious and careful, because if the Yoruba says no, we go all out. We are a people with dignity.
Okay.
We are people with intelligence. We are careful with the things we say. Oftentimes we appear to people as if we are afraid. We are not afraid of nothing.
Okay.
But the situation where agitation comes to the point where the police was defied, and let's also look at it this way. The same protest or the same gathering happened in Ekiti. It happened in some other parts of the southwest. So why then do you have to unleash none other than the army or the police on innocent citizens? So the reality is the agitation is a function or a product of the indiscretion and lack of foresight by the people who are leading, who don't want to see things differently other than their own skewed way. That's my posture, and that's how I open.
Okay, so you made a couple of points there, Mr. Kuno, but permit me to ask. We've seen the agitation, over the weeks and as well as a couple of months starting. However, I want to ask, bearing in mind that this agitation has started, is Sunday Adeyemo, aka Sunday Igboho, expectedly the person who is supposed to lead this protest? I mean, bearing in mind he has a questionable character and has been seen time and time again, frolicking with politicians, and even as a matter of fact, some people have even accused him of facilitating, electoral violence and, supporting a particular candidate using any means necessary to ensure that they emerge as winners in the election.
I think that the conversation has even moved away from Sunday Igboho.
Okay.
For many people who do not understand, Sunday Igboho, Nnamdi Kanu, they are products of this society. And the things that they are associated with are essentially things happening within the society where we live. You could perhaps want to do a subcategorization of his affiliation with politicians and the rest. But if you even look at it, the Yoruba people have a saying, and I'm going to say it in Yoruba here, Omoino Lanronsino. By implication, it simply means that oftentimes it is the person who understands the insider workings of things that definitely can stand up to it. For all the revolution that has taken place, and for all the defiance of authority that's taking place according to history, it is always somebody from the inside that says, I don't like the status quo. So for Sunday Igboho in the first place, I've actually stood up to those that he used to work for. It simply reflects that perhaps he has seen the inside workings and feels nothing at all. For instance, if there is what we call espionage, or the MI6, or talking about the FBI wants to do certain things, they will plant somebody inside a particular organization that they want to uproot, and the person will be there for as long as 5-10 years or thereabouts. So a Sunday Igboho in this case is simply doing what they usually do when they want to dig up certain things. And I'm saying it very clearly here, that it is very key not to mince words. Sunday Igboho is a product of this society. And if at all they want to start talking about the fact that he frolics with politicians, definitely they are the ones that made him. But away from Sunday Igboho is a bigger conversation. It would have been enough for Sunday Igboho alone to come out, so maybe Ojota yesterday when there was protest on Saturday, and actually say, yes, this is it. But don't forget, he didn't come there alone. Sunday Igboho was there with many other people who share the need for attention to be given to very important issues of national concern. And let me say this. The United Nations Charter makes it clear that when the people feel that their rights are being wronged, they have the right to self-determination. And let me say this also. There are two significant points in this conversation. When the president came to power, the United Nations General Assembly, first of all, attended. He made a case for a Palestinian state. Then the second one he did, at the second United Nations appearance he made a case for Rohingya Muslims. The records are there. You people in the media, you can double-check what I've said this morning. If the president could make a case for the creation of a Palestinian state, what on earth is wrong with him and those who perhaps do not even understand their roles and responsibilities in terms of that? So what I'm simply bringing out of this discussion is we cannot have a nation ruled by two laws. And that is what I personally will speak to. Okay, people look at the thing look at apart from Sunday Igboho and the time. I know that the time himself has actually mentioned or said things that he should not have said. But let's look at Sunday Igboho, what have been his utterances. Because we are talking about the Sheikh Gumi that found it very easy to go into the forest and discuss with bandits who are killing and raping my northern sisters and destroying the lives of our northern children. And they are still talking about placating them and paying them. But the man tells you it is unjust. What are the bandits fighting for? If you check well, they are talking about a level of the evil manner in which they have been ruled. You can imagine the level of poverty, lack of education coming out from the north. It's therefore something important to say that these issues are very key. The issues they are raising are very key. And let me tell you the dangerous part. From ages 18 to 40 in this country, they are in excess of 70%. There's a level they will push them to. Even the Nigerian army will not be able to shoot anybody. And the people who think they have the backing of the army and police will be eaten up by this issue. So the best thing for the government to do, and the best thing for Mr. Buhari to do, is to be humble enough to engage with the stakeholders across this country, especially the Southwest nation. Let me tell you, immediately the Southwest, in terms of its refusal to listen, continues to raise issues, then there's nothing the average northerner can do. And that's it. Let me also say this very clearly. 65% in this country of non-oil revenue comes from the Southwest. 65%. The Yoruba people are close to about 60 million within this country, and in the diaspora, close to 20. So approximate that to 80 million. So the issue we are discussing is that in terms of numbers, we are good enough to become a nation. In terms of economy, we are strong enough to have our own economy. So what on earth is wrong with the deluded leaders in these times that they cannot reason beyond the ordinary? And let me tell you, you can't kill everybody. And whilst you are planning to do that, you'll always go. So let the government discuss with people now while it can do so before it gets too late. That is again my position. So
you're of the opinion that the government should discuss with both the Yoruba nation people and also the IPO people, right?
Let me tell you, yes. Let me tell you, do you know what, Sergio? Or I don't know who's talking with me now, sorry.
It's merciful, it's
I
fine.
have traveled, I've traveled extensively within the Southeast, and I can tell you for free that the number of police checkpoints you have in the Southeast, there are 5 states in the Southeast, is times 3 or times 4 of the number of security operatives you have in the states of the North. At the moment, the place where the killing is most is in the North. Why are you not deploying with the same level of force the number of security operatives that you are deploying to the Southeast and some other parts of this country, for instance, to the Northeast and the Northwest? So it's a situation where we have a lot of things that are not happening there, and you find out that people that should know better are doing the things they shouldn't do. They are always spoiling for war. So it is better not to allow bloodshed and allow for dialogue now that we can, or else it's going to be a whole lot of problem. I'm saying here very clearly, the federal government appears not to understand themselves, because a situation where a Southwest person stands up to say no, the earlier thing you can do is to say, can we discuss? Because immediately the Yoruba nation says no to something, I tell you, every energy and resources to be deployed, and let the federal government not be deceived. They can't stop them. So the best thing is to just discuss now. And I've said it again, and I'm saying it now. This is not about Sunday Igboho. Please, let's understand it. It is about the agitations of a people that feel that certain things are not being done well. So when we talk about this agitation, leave Sunday Igboho out of it. They may have been the one talking tough and going ahead, but at the moment, it's not just about Sunday Igboho. It is about the entire Southwest nation that should be discussed with as early as possible, or else we will be putting ourselves in more trouble.
All right, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you for joining us on the conversation this morning, Mr. Adeni Kunu.
All right.
And thank you so much, viewers, for joining the conversation this morning. It's been a very insightful one, I must say, right, Sagir?
As a matter of fact, it has been.
All right, and don't forget, you can always be part of our social media community. Your contributions, your opinions are needed. So just follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our website is always www.tostvnetwork.com. My name is Merciful Ajunomo.
And I am Sagir Ibrahim. Thank you so much for watching, and see you tomorrow.